Teva Harrison was 37 years old when she was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And in the face of an incurable illness, Harrison did what artists do. She created. And it started with her graphic memoir, In Between Days, continued with art installations, even a coloring book, all of it showcasing her zest to lead the fullest and also the kindest life possible, celebrating the joy in every little thing, but also being real and raw about the challenges of living with cancer. Teva Harrison died in April. She was working on a collection of poems, which is out today. And this morning, we are joined by her husband, David Leonard. David, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Teva had been working on this book for quite some time. Can you give us a little bit of insight into the process and how this book came to be?
Sure, yeah. Teva was a creator, and she wrote about it in In-Between Days, the idea of in-between space and liminal space, and that, you waiting rooms and time between scans, she filled that time with creativity. And so for her, whether it's writing poetry or writing fiction or writing memoir or drawing, that space was something that she wanted to fill with creativity and with sharing and being honest about her experiences. And so she gravitated towards the poetry, and as she started to think about what she wanted to put next out after the memoir, she came to this collection of poetry and realized it was enough for this book, and went to her publisher, House of Anansi, and her editor, Megan Strimus, and they put this thing together. So she worked right up until her death to finish this book, and she poured herself into the pages and she poured herself into the topic, and she was so proud of this book.
It's an incredible collection. What was it like for you to hold the finished product?
It's complicated, This thing is, obviously I'd much rather her be sitting here talking to you than me, and that's just the reality of it. But I'm also full of admiration. She really did pour herself into this book, and she in all of her creativity was looking for community and looking for the way that she can turn truth into beauty. And to have that come into this book, this makes me full of pride because she worked so hard to finish it. And before she died, she knew that it would be coming out today, and she knew that she might not be here to speak about it, but that it would still find its audience and that the book could speak for her.
And that you can be here to speak
for
her as well.
To speak for her if I had to, yeah.
Let's talk about bees, the importance of bees in her life.
Sure.
Why was that so important?
She, the illustrations in this book are very nature-based. So she draws bees and flowers and stars, and she grew up in the country, in a small place with no stoplight and a hitching post at the general store.
Amazing.
And she spent her childhood in the meadow watching flowers and bees and trees and things that are natural. And for her, bees are this very powerful creature. For one, they're at risk. Human interaction is causing problems for bees. But also, you think about these little fragile creatures who are hardworking, and they go out into the world and they want to provide for their community and they want to provide for the hive, and they go from flower to flower, collecting to bring food back, and they seek beauty and they seek something that's interesting and they seek something that's open and available to them. And in that seeking beauty to provide for their community and working hard, they end up pollinating the flowers, and the spread of their travels makes the flowers brighter and makes the world brighter. And I think Teva saw herself in a lot of ways as doing a lot of the same stuff, by living with kindness and working hard and seeking beauty. You can brighten the world around you.
From what I've read, it sounds like you're almost describing your wife as well with all those descriptives.
That's how she lived her life. She believed in kindness, and she believed in being gentle and being bold and in spreading beauty. And I think you can't always choose your death, but she certainly chose how to live her life. And I think the people will see in this book that she is dealing with some difficult subject matter, but she's also dealing with it from a place of hope and optimism. And I think the creative process requires someone to have hope to even create it all out of darkness.
Did I hear that you got a bee tattoo as well?
I did get a bee tattoo on my arm. So this right here, I've got one of the bees. So she took the drawings of her bees and flowers and she had them tattooed across her arm right here. And then just before she died, I had one of the bees tattooed on my arm as well.
What do you think Teva would want people to take from this collection?
I think she'd want people to find community and to know that they're not alone. She writes about some hard things in this book, about illness and about fear and about grief and about death, but she also writes about love and she writes about beauty. And I think that, for her, when she was looking for people to share stories with, she was looking for people who were writing about things that she was thinking about. And so for her reader, to see themselves in this book, whether they're suffering an illness or whether they just are seeking beauty or answers. I think she'd hope that people take an idea that you can choose the way you live. You can choose to be kind. You can choose to seek beauty. And you can choose to look for community wherever it is. And you might find it on the streets, and you might find it in a book.
Well, I'll tell you, from somebody who never had the opportunity, a chance to meet your wife, that certainly resonates from these pages. Is an absolutely beautiful read. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you
for having me. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.